Folks, we need to talk about something that's happening right now, and most Canadians haven't even a clue. While France and Germany kicking American tech giants to the curb, Canada is doubling down. And I'm not just talking about some minor software upgrades. No. I'm talking about the most sensitive national security data we're handing over to an US company whose CEO is high-fiving the orange felon who is threatening our country. Here's the breakdown. First, the European shake-up. France's spy agency just dumped Palantir. Germany did the same. The two biggest European intelligence services just walking away from American tech. Second, Canada's opposite move. While Europe kicks out the Yankees, we are doubling down. We're maintaining contract of about $100 million with Palantir. Third, the massive risk. This isn't about cost or efficiency. It's about our sovereignty. It's about the US having the legal power to take our classified data anytime they want. And fourth, what we should do instead. There is a better path. And lucky for us, Europe is showing us exactly how to do it. Here's what just went down. France's domestic intelligence agency, think of our CSIS or the FBI, is dropping Palantir after nearly a decade using that software. They're replacing it with a French company called Chaps Vision. That didn't even exist 6 years ago. And it wasn't just France either. Germany's domestic intelligence made exactly the same call last month. And they picked the same French company over Palantir. Two of Europe's biggest spy agencies, both walking away from American tech at pretty much the same time. Coincidence? No, coordination. Now, why did that happen? Well, French PM Sébastien Lecornu was pretty blunt about it. He said, and I'm paraphrasing here, "We can't accept strategic digital dependency. France must build real autonomy and not depend on questionable partners who are capable and willing of restricting access." That's not some vague philosophical statement. It's a direct reference to something that actually happened just 4 days ago. The US government just ordered Anthropic, that company behind cloud, to cut off all foreign nationals from their most advanced AI models. No warning, no grace period, just a 403 error message saying, "Sorry, this is for Americans only." Imagine being top European intelligence analyst looking into mapped out international smuggling routes, but getting told your access is revoked because the US decided it didn't like the look of things. That's what triggered this entire move. And it's why France and Germany now pouring hundreds of millions into their own domestic AI development. France just announced 655 million euros specially for sovereign AI capabilities. And get this, Palantir CEO Alex Karp didn't exactly help the situation either. That guy recently published a manifesto celebrating his company's role in selecting bombing targets during the Iran war and calling for American technology supremacy. There we go again, the ugly American. Nothing says trust us with our national security secrets like a CEO who sounds like he's auditioning to be a Bond villain. Now, here's where it gets frustrating. While Europe is building firewalls and kicking out American tech, what's Canada doing? We are snuggling up even closer. The Department of National Defense signed a $14.4 million contract with Palantir. The Canadian Special Operations Force Command signed Palantir deals worth nearly $47 million. The Ontario Provincial Police has a $36.6 million contract, and Palantir is a pre-approved federal vendor throughout July 2028. meaning any department can fast-track procurement without competitive bidding. David McGuinty defended that deal as a legitimate procurement. He said Palantir is the only supplier that can match what the intelligence of our allies are using. Sure, there is some truth to that. Interoperability matters. But here's the thing. Germany and France are both NATO members. And they share intelligence too. They figured it out, so why can't we? Let me guess. Something to do with the orange fascist gangster in the House of Horrors? And here is the scary part, folks. Because we are not just talking about some generic software. We're talking about the most sensitive data Canada possesses. Counter-terrorism files, intelligence reports, special force operations. And we are running it all through an American company. Here's the legal reality. As I told you guys before, under the US Cloud Act, American authorities can compel companies like Palantir to hand over data even if that data is stored outside the US. They don't need to ask our permission. They don't need to go through our courts. They can just subpoena it. I know what some of you are thinking right now. It just sounds like a conspiracy theory. Well, it's not. It's the law, plain and simple. And the Cloud Act specifically applies to US corporations with control over data. I did not make that up, friends. You can look it up for yourself. It's the exact reason European intelligence agencies have kicked US data to the curb. They don't want their classified data to be subject to American law in front of American eyes. Germany's cyber defense chief was spot on when he said, "It is simply inconceivable to grant third-party foreign corporate staff access to their national military databases." They call it too big of a risk. So, why aren't we having the same conversation? And then, there is the vendor login problem. Once you are on Palantir, it is almost impossible to get out. The data is structured in ways that make migration a nightmare. That's not an accident. That's by design. And nobody is demanding alternatives. We're just throwing money at American tech because it's easier than building our own. And finally, here's the ethical baggage. Palantir has been heavily criticized for its work with US immigration and custom enforcement, helping identify deportation targets. Amnesty International and the American Immigration Council have both called them out. By embedding Palantir into our system, we are telling the world that we don't care. Well, I don't know about you, but I do care. And I think it's a scandal that our government still supports such an American company. So Europe's moving away and Canada is digging in. What should we do instead? First, we need to build sovereign Canadian platforms. France scaled up their CHAP vision from zero to a European intelligence software standard in 6 years. We've got companies like Anvil Defense, a Canadian firm building security AI platforms specifically for defense and national security. They are not a Silicon Valley transplant. They are homegrown, with deep understanding of our legal and security landscape. According to their CEO, their platform can boost analytic capability fourfold. We should be funding them, not sending money to California. Second, we need to form tech alliances with trusted partners. Australia, New Zealand, the UK. They're facing the very same pressure. We should co-develop sovereign defense AI tools. We should be leaning on European tech that meets strict democratic privacy framework. Germany and France are already testing alternatives. We should be at that table, looking over their shoulders and learning from what they are doing. And no, this would not in any way lead to Canadian dependency on the EU. Third, revoke Palantir's pre-approved vendor status. Get rid of it. Every department should go through competitive bidding, especially for questionable companies from questionable countries. Fourth, invest in our own AI ecosystem. Canada is a global hub for AI research. We have world-class talents, but we keep losing them to US firms because we don't fund domestic defense tech. Why are we doing this? Shift the money we are sending to Palantir into Canadian startups instead. Create good-paying jobs at the Department of National Defense and in security. Keep our best and brightest here. Get away from shitty American products like the F-35s and Palantir. So, here we are, my friends. Europe is choosing independence. We are not. France and Germany building walls, while we are still rolling out the welcome mat for American tech. It doesn't have to be that way. We can build our own. We can partner with allies who share our values. We can protect our sovereignty without sacrificing security. So, here's my question to you. Are you okay with the US having the legal authority to access our most classified intelligence? Because if you are not, it's time to make some noise. Drop a comment and let me know, do you trust Palantir or the US with Canada's secret? And if not, what should we do about it? Like, subscribe and hit that notification bell. We need to have this conversation. Because if we don't, the decisions will be made for us in Washington. Thanks for watching. I'm Wilfried Lemkuller with Europe Curious, where we don't just repeat the daily headlines, but open the curtain so you can see for yourself what's really behind it. See you in the next one.